This, of course, is Dr. Fauci, whatever his name is, anyhow, and NHIV or NIH. He made a lot of money off patents and whatnot and did a lot of abuse. This guy is criminal. But listen to what this guy says. This guy's doing this is Catholic. This is 43 minutes long. We're not going to go through the whole bit.
Country. And what is the connection between Fauci and the population-controlling Bill Gates Foundation?
Population Control Bill Gates Foundation. Remnant TV. This is Michael J. is his name. Michael Matt. Editor's Desk, Michael Matt, special edition. Fauci and his agenda, Bill Gates, Soros, Trump, who. This is all interconnected. What these guys are doing. It's all interconnected. CDC, 80,000 people died of flu as last winter in U.S. highest death toll in 40 years. Well, part of it is these bad shots, and they're not talking about this. Bill Gates, he's one of the most darkest, sinister people. I don't even think he finished high school. He's not even a medical doctor, and yet he's being charged with the WHO and World Health. Are you kidding me? Out of the UN and through this WHO? Are you kidding me?
Schools have such benefit and can be done in a way that the risk of transmission is very low.
Yeah.
And which activities like mass gatherings may be, in a certain sense, more optional. And so until you're widely vaccinated, those may not come back at all.
Joe
Yeah, this guy is bad news.
Biden's advisor comes out on national TV. He calls for 18 months of shutdown.
COVID-19 will be here for the next 18 months or more. We will not be
18 months or more, they'll destroy the economy by then. This guy, Planned Parenthood, other things, bad news. Bill Gates' father's connected with Planned Parenthood.
That were lost to abortion, including the ones that he said not very long ago could be born alive, and then mother and father and a nurse or a doctor could decide whether or not to kill a born alive child. Remember this?
There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
And then we had the case of the governor of Virginia, where he stated he would execute a baby after birth.
Which brings us back to Dr. Fauci. Surely Dr. Fauci, a darling of the Obama administration, a guy who's been working with Bill Gates, for a long time, working with the globalists, working with the population controllers and everybody else. Surely he only cares about saving lives. He doesn't have a leftist slant to his agenda at all, right?
The greater proportion of my professional career has been defined by HIV/AIDS. And if you go back then, during that period of time when there was extraordinary stigma.
He screwed over a gal over HIV/AIDS research. This guy is dark as they come.
Particularly against the gay community. And it was only when the world realized how the gay community responded to this outbreak with incredible courage and dignity and strength and activism that I think that really changed some of the stigma against the gay community.
And of course, as I said, Dr. Fauci partners with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation all the time. If you don't know anything about that foundation, please look it up. We'll put some links below here. You can check it out. I mean, this foundation is leading the charge to lower the world's population. Melinda Gates, who's a Catholic supposedly, proudly talking about the new technologies they've developed over in Africa where they can track and find out which young lady is not on contraception. They're going to provide contraception and sex education and lower those big nasty families because that's not good for the planet.
A very big goal that you have stated. Get 100.
Anyhow, let's get past all this foolishness. Wicked, wicked people.
Why was the World Health Organization so off? Why did they seem to be so in bed with the Chinese communists on this one? Why was there so much misinformation coming from this expert organization on world health? Surely the World Health Organization is only concerned with saving lives, right?
In most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them.
This is like something right out of some futuristic movie, some kind of weird James Bond villain stuff going on here. They're going to come in our house and take members of our family out, and we're not supposed to question the narrative here? We're just supposed to put the coffee filter on our face and get the purple gloves on, lock ourselves in the basement indefinitely without asking any questions because the virus might get us? Really? What happened to us? What are we doing here? This is about power. This is about control. It's about leveling the international playing field. Guess what has to get out of the way before that can happen? The United States of America. And Donald Trump. You know Donald Trump's little expression there, make America great again? You think that's just some sort of an innocent little campaign slogan? No.
This is going worldwide, and that's why they hated him. That's why they wanted to get him out of the way. Many countries are fighting back.
That's what they're waiting for. That's why they're prolonging this whole thing. And by the way, once the capitalist American system, when it's strong economy, once that is crushed, if this goes on for months, once it's out of the way, the globalist man in Rome has to simply tell 2 billion Catholics that Pachamama wishes them to sign on to the New World Order. See, they even have a pope on their side. That's what they got. That's what this is all about. Now,
New World Order with the Pope on their side. We've been saying this from different groups at different angles for a long time, and this guy's Catholic.
Sometimes worry that Donald Trump maybe doesn't realize or hasn't thought through the influence of the Vatican in all of this, because these crazy globalist people, they don't really have a government that can enforce these things. They can try. The little blue helmeted United Nations guys, not strong enough. They need something stronger. They need a moral and a theological, spiritual authority on their side to force this stuff throughout the entire world, and that is Pope Francis.
Pope Francis, our duty is to obey the United Nations. That's a globalist attitude right there.
Whether we like it or not, he's on their side. And it's not a conspiracy theory. He's admitted it. He's advertised it. He wants you to know that he's on their side. You see? The Pope's climate change encyclical, Laudato Si, provides the theological underpinning for the entire climate change agenda. You see, he's telling the world that God wants this, or Pachamama wants this, or whatever. And this is why Francis is hailed as God's own agent who's going to bless and approve the Sustainable Development Goals, which we've been talking about so much.
I'm going to go past it. It's bad news. Sustainable Development Goal 3.7 by 2030. Ensure universal access to sexual and reproductive health care, blah, blah, blah. It's all controllable. This guy's sick.
Imperial power in decline. And it is a dangerous country right now. It will be absolutely dangerous if Trump wins re-election.
See, they hate Trump. They want him out of the way.
Becomes a symbol of hope for the next 2,000 years, something upon which God had been crucified, becomes the great symbol of hope. I'm not saying that this is all over and that there is no hope. There's tremendous amounts of hope. In fact, I keep going back to this. I think what's happening right now is more of a Tower of Babel scenario. They're beginning to break apart. This thing is not really working. Many people are seeing through what they're trying to do. They're desperate to get one of their own in the Vatican because they can't do it on their own. So if we fight for the restoration of the church, if we fight to have an actual Catholic Pope in Peter's chair in the years to come, all of this whole New World Order house of cards can come tumbling down, but we need to open our eyes, say our prayers, become traditional Catholics, and have a Christocentric view of all this in order to fight this enemy. Because these guys, here's the other good news, these guys, as far as I'm concerned, are consummate nerds. These globalists, they're nerds, they're dorks, they're pocket protecting dorks. They have little pocket protectors with their pens in there, these types, would have been kind of beat up a little bit in high school. That's what they are.
They're dangerous nerds, very dangerous, medical, abusive, dangerous people.
But this is ridiculous. This is the year 2020, and we're using methods to control a virus. You can't control a virus. You can't contain a virus. We're using this positively medieval, and none of it's even real. Oh, you can't leave your house, but you can go to the grocery store, the liquor store, the pet store. You could run over to McDonald's and have yourself a burger or whatever, and then go right straight home again and pretend like you're in quarantine. You're not. It's like a psychological game. It's a psyops, right?
It's all psychological. It's based on fear.
Responsible member of the community. He cannot give a consecrated host in the hand of his parishioners. He cannot carefully set the host into the hands of his parishioners. The question is, why not? Now, that's illegal. That's part of the shutdown, the lockdown. Can't do that. Lock the churches to prevent that. But I can go to McDonald's. I can go to the McDonald's drive-up window, and I can order a bag of burgers. And there's going to be a pimple-faced kid named Brett.
Yeah, he talks about some high school kid and doing the burgers and touching the cash and everything else, and it's full of germs and whatnot, and he's right. And yet we can't go to church. Why?
Billions of Catholics around the world in a common liturgy, in a common faith, common beliefs. Why did they do that? They had to do that because that was a powerful block of people. And if you're the Freemasons or the globalists or whatever, and you're trying to dominate the world, you can't get past the Catholic Church. So try to understand what this is all about, how we got to this point. It didn't start with Francis. It goes a long way. The war against Christendom, the war against Catholic kings and queens, the war finally against doctrine and liturgy that we saw in more recent times, even when I was a kid. Go to our website, remnantnewspaper.com, read our archives, spend a couple days in there so you can begin to learn what happened, how we got here, why it's necessary to go to your priest and say, Father, we want to go back to what the Catholics did for 1,000, 15, 18, 1900 years. And finally, pray the rosary. Now that we see, again, what it looks like to be locked in our homes, what it looks like to have a regime that's telling us exactly what we can and can't do, now that we know what that feels like and looks like, now we can understand what Our Lady of Fatima was worried about. The errors of Russia, right? Atheism, dominate. Because what is atheism? What is atheism? Atheism is where hope goes to die. If our churches stay open, if we believe in God and the Blessed Mother and we have our faith, we have hope. We're invincible. We're powerful. And the enemy knows that. So let's go back to praying the rosary, to listening to what Our Lady warned was coming. And pray that rosary also for our own perseverance, that we have the hope and the courage to fight, and also for the re-election of Donald Trump. Let's see if we can restore the covenant with God again in the time that this politician, he's not a politician, that this man, he's more of a statesman in the classic Greek sense than we've probably ever seen, because he does care about the country, he does care about the state. Let's see if we can get him re-elected and then maybe bring him closer to Christ now that he's seen the devil up close, these people who are trying to destroy him and destroy this country. I know there's a lot more than can be said. Again, please visit our website every day. We're going into all of this. We're trying to get to the truth.
So there you are. I'm giving you 14 and a half minutes here. There's so much more to all this. So much. But you can bet that this is a globalist and elites control on church, faith, people, medicine, power, corporations, foundations, governments, abuse of governments, abuse of the Federal Reserve, destroying companies, destroying faith, destroying people through malpractice in medicine. You can't even sue people over the abuse of shots and other things. You can look all this stuff up. I'm not lying to you. There's way more authoritative people than me that tell you that you can't sue a doctor over malpractice with abusing shots. Can't do it. They got a whole court system set up that's dirty and it's rigged. You can't even sue them. And they're using our tax dollars to defend these criminals that are using needles and vaccines that are killing millions of people with cancers, viruses, other things, proteins and animal fluids and blood fluids from animals and animal tissue. It shouldn't even be in there. Detergents, formaldehydes, viruses, proteins, mercuries, metals, and go on and on. We should have none of that crap in these shots. And now they're going to put nanotechnology in them. And they're going to put AI stuff in there with nanotechnology. Try to control the chemistry in your brain and your sex and your reproductive abilities. I mean, these people are sick. They're sick and they're power hungry and they don't care what they have to do to get it done. And a great way to do it is control people with fear, with shots, with nanotechnology, with AI. This is real stuff. It's not just made up. It's real stuff. And so we're coming to a head. Who is going to have to protect your rights? You are. And you're going to have to unite with other like-minded individuals that really know what's going on. You have to fight for them. You'll have to fight for them. And it's Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Good day. This guy's Catholic. Look at some of his stuff. I'm sure he's got some of the truth there.